So yeah, as Michael mentioned, this is really a 10-minute overview, high level on Webex Contact Center as really a lead up to the follow-up session, which will be more detailed, and we'll have the demonstration of the agent and supervisor and administrator experience. So why are customers looking to move their contact center to the cloud? One is really to be able to deploy services more quickly than they do today with premise-based solutions. It's really to be able to more easily manage their platforms without disruption. It's to be able to really reduce costs that are associated with supporting a contact center, right? Less hardware, less software, less people to support that. Another one is, especially in the age of COVID and the pandemic, we had a lot of contact centers that had to very rapidly move agents home to work from home. And that was complicated and that was costly in a lot of situations. Cloud technology, cloud contact center allows us to have more agility to be able to do that. And then finally, from a security perspective, right? Who better than Cisco from a networking perspective to build this enterprise cloud network contact center with all of the security compliances that you require.
Hey, John, not to interrupt you, I just want to let you know that we're seeing the slides in the presenter view, not the presentation view. There you go.
Thank you very much. So you as an attendee or a viewer, right, you may have multiple reasons for considering this, if you're even considering it, right? One can be that today you have a legacy system that's being retired. Or you have a legacy system that it's just time to upgrade or to renew your maintenance. So you have an event that's occurring that's making you think about kind of what do I do going forward. Another reason could be that leadership has determined that all of your applications, whether in the contact center or not, are going to move to the cloud. We see that a lot with our customers. It could be financial reasons where you're trying to move from CapEx to OpEx. You're trying to reduce costs associated, again, with hardware, software, and the people that you need to be able to support the system. And then finally, it may be that you're really looking to transform your customer experience. You're looking at this strategically in terms of with the capabilities I need going forward to provide a better customer experience. I'm really limited with my premise-based solution, and cloud is going to move me along that continuum and give me what I need to provide a better customer experience. So again, why do today's contact centers kind of fall short? Number one is from your customer's perspective, they don't necessarily feel like you know who they are, right? Or why it is you're calling or emailing or chatting with them, right? They don't know the intent, right? Today's systems don't always easily provide that information. Also, from an agent perspective, because they don't have a lot of the context, right? They don't understand the journey that you've been on as a customer up to that point in interacting with the organization. And so what you'll find is, from an IT perspective, is to be able to enable these capabilities for both your customers and also your employees, right? That may require a strategy, and that strategy, again, can't really be achieved with today's premise-based solutions very easily. So according to Forrester, businesses that are out there today, 80% believe that they deliver a superior experience, but the actual reality is that only a fraction of that, 8% of their customers agree, right? So they think they're doing all the right things, but what they're really lacking is, again, the ability to have their customer deal with them in any channel that they want to deal with them, having that insight and context in terms of understanding where they are in their journey, and also understanding what is the next best action to take for that customer to, again, sustain your brand in a positive way. So the solution to this is Webex Contact Center. Webex Contact Center is our native cloud contact center solution, and it's a single platform for all of the collaboration modalities. be it meetings and conferencing, be it messaging, be it calling, be it contact center, it's one platform. So most customers are looking to move to the cloud because they want to simplify of what today is a number of different systems, consoles, management devices, diagnostics. Putting it into one platform greatly simplifies that. And for the user population, what that means is streamlined interfaces and less toggling back and forth between different interfaces for, again, messaging, meetings, calling, and the contact center is what they may be experiencing today. So all new Webex Contact Center. Webex Contact Center has been out for about 10 years, but this latest rebuild of this new release really adds a lot of new functionality and capability. Again, back to the point of where we started with, to be able to really enhance the customer experience and transform the customer experience, the solution as it was needed some new capabilities. So this new solution is digital first, which means now you can provide a full omni-channel experience that not only includes voice, email, chat, and text, but also now social and mobile. So we made an acquisition that we announced at Webex One of a company called IMI Mobile, and IMI Mobile is going to expand this even more, our capabilities around social and mobile. So many of the customers I talk to today say, we don't necessarily support customer interactions on WeChat or WhatsApp. And you may not either, and you may not intend to. But what you do want is a platform that, should you decide to be able to support other channels, that the platform is capable to do that. So part of this rebuild, and again, the idea behind the rebuild was to create more scalability, more elasticity, more availability, and more agility. And so as I go through these various capabilities in this platform, you'll see that it did require an enhancement of the platform today beyond what a lot of our competitors can offer. So digital first. The other piece is contextual, right? I talked about the fact that agents don't always know what they need to know about a customer. They don't have easy access to it. And the customers don't feel like they're known and appreciated by the organization. What we've done here is we have taken an acquisition of a company called Cloud Cherry that was very big in the customer sentiment space. And we've integrated that into the platform. So now you can drive down that customer sentiment in real time, right down to the agent. So the agent's going to know how I'm feeling about them as a customer, and again, be able to respond accordingly. Intelligent super agents is the opportunities around automation and self-service to really not only drive agent deflection, where maybe an agent doesn't need to handle a particular task because it's repetitive and low value, but also there's situations where it's more of an agent assist, where the agent needs agent needs context of what's occurred up to the point that they've gone through the automation. And again, this platform now is built to be able to have those capabilities. Big one here is flexibility. So flexibility from the perspective of customers' hesitancy to move to the cloud traditionally has been that the solutions were fairly static, right? You got a subscription. Basically, you were offered what the desktop and the supervisor desktop look like. With this platform, we've opened up the APIs to make this more extensible, to make that desktop and that experience look more like your company and your brand. And then finally, the collaborative contact center is really about, again, as I talked about before, creating a single platform where all the modalities of collaboration are tied into one management platform, as well as from the agent and supervisor workflow perspective, when they move from taking a phone call to moving to email to handling chat to handling social mobile, right? The flow of that is very consistent, it's very standardized, and it's very simple for them. So that's an overview of the platform at a very high level. And again, hopefully you will attend the next session where we'll go into a demonstration and highlight some of the specific experiences that an agent and a customer and a supervisor and even IT would have in working with this solution. Thanks, Michael. Back to you.
Thanks, John. Yeah, so with that, we'll hand the ball over to Franz to go over the Webex video endpoints.
My name is Franz DeLeon. I'm a Cisco Collaboration Technical Solutions Architect. For the next 15 minutes, I'm going to share with you some of the new products and features that we've announced, starting with Webex 1 back in December up until now. And I am actually joining you in this meeting via my Webex Desk Pro. So what I'm going to do first is start to share my screen. And I'm going to walk through a live demo for the first few minutes and then share a handful of slides at the end. But I want to show you what you can do with a Webex Desk Pro so you can have a better meetings experience. So I'm just sharing my browser to projectworkplace.cisco.com. And here you can find out more information in our device portfolio, including the Webex Desk Pro, which I'm using here. And now I'm going to turn on this new feature called Immersive Share. And that is even going to be available to me even when I'm not in Webex, although that is also going to come to Webex meetings. And now you can see my video presented as an overlay on top of content. So participants can now maximize their content share and not have to worry about the thumbnail film strip view. All right, so let's keep scrolling down this page here. And with the Desk series, we are talking about a business class HD video endpoint. And for the Desk Pro, we're talking about premium video, premium audio. And as I scroll down to the next part of this page here, you'll notice that my overlay is on top of text, and that's not a great experience. So I'm just going to go ahead and move my video overlay to any of the four corners. So now you can read that text. And back to the Desk Pro, we're talking about a 27-inch 4K touchscreen, which also has a bump up to the processing capability, so we have an even better whiteboarding experience. We can also have a really nice, clean desk environment, especially useful for a lot of people who are working at home now, right? Because this could be my all-in-one device, which also means less cables. We have a new passive cooling solution, so no more disruptive fan noises. And as I mentioned before, premium audio to go with that premium video experience, and then a modern aesthetic and inviting look and feel. All right, so what else can we do here with our Desk Pro? I've been using my keyboard and mouse to navigate through this web page, but instead what I'm going to do is I want a more intuitive, immersive experience. So I'm going to turn on my touch capabilities here. Because I have a Windows 10 device, I'm connecting that laptop to the Desk Pro via a USB-C cable. I can now use my finger and manage my content that I'm sharing with you. And I can see here that on this web page that I can actually look at the Desk Pro and even generate a quote by myself. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And so far, everything about the Desk Pro looks and sounds great. All of you probably want to buy 100 of these, but let's start off with 5 pieces here. I can download that PDF, so I can take that back to my stakeholders, review this back with the sales team, and then also we can introduce whiteboarding capabilities right on top of this as well. So it's going to take this desktop share, reintroduce it as a whiteboard session, and now I can use my stylus or my finger to be able to annotate and collaborate with my teammates here. We also have recently introduced shapes. So now I can have a cleaner whiteboarding session. I know a lot of us don't always have the best handwriting, so I can go ahead and maybe tell my sales team, here is the quote ID, but you'll notice that that circle gets cleaned up a bit. I can even do that with other shapes as well, right? So I want to highlight something. It's just a nicer, cleaner experience. And as I mentioned before, some of these features that I'm showing you are available directly on the Desk Pro. So even if I'm not in a Webex meetings, even if I'm not using the Webex app, I can still continue to have these whiteboarding experiences. So I'm just going to go ahead and be done with the whiteboard piece here. And I'm going to go back to reintroducing the whiteboard. So I'll just stop sharing for a little bit here. And I'm going to select from my whiteboards that whiteboard that I actually shared just a few seconds ago. And you'll see it'll reintroduce it back to the meeting. This could be a meeting the next day. It could be a meeting a month later, and still be able to continue right where we left off. All right, so let's be done with that piece there. And I will stop sharing my screen here. And let's talk about what else we can do with the Desk Pro. So I'm on a call all day here, and I may be getting some meeting fatigue like a lot of us are probably experiencing in the past year. I've got a 4K camera in front of me. So what I can do is I can actually take a step back here. I could stand up, stretch my legs, and you'll see that that 4K camera will still follow me, even as I sit back down. So we can continue to have that immersive experience. I can also now allow we can allow users to customize or not customize their virtual background. Again, even if I'm not in a Webex meeting. So I can go ahead and choose a different environment as my background if I wanted to. All right, so I'm gonna turn that off here for a bit. All right, so let's continue here. I did just want to rest assured everyone that I am here live, right? So I'm not a cat, which is the perfect segue to the next feature here, because some of us sometimes have animals in our environment. They may be loud cats, maybe loud dogs, loud anything. Because the Desk Pro does have Bluetooth capabilities. I've got my premium headset here, the 730, and I can go ahead and just put it over my head and turn it on. It'll pair up with my DX and my DX or my Desk Pro you over audio, and I can be mobile, right? We've got my partner in crime here, Tom Rappo, on the call. He's always wearing a headset. He can go ahead and answer the door if that doorbell rings, still be present on the call, even if not on video, and not sound like he's far away. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off here. And I'm gonna share a few more slides here, and we'll wrap this up to go on to the next segment. We did announce, we did have some new announcements even after Webex 1 as well. So I'll share with you some of those new announcements. And again, lots of really cool things that I've showed you on the Desk Pro here. What else can we do to make that Desk Pro sound even more exciting? We have reduced the price to about 25%. So if this is of interest to you, just let your account teams know that this is something that you're interested in. We have also introduced a new product called the Webex Desk Limited Edition. And we are offering this up until the rest of the calendar year. This is the same form factor, same size as the Desk Pro, but we wanted to introduce something similar at a lower price point. So to help cut costs, we've cut down on some of the features. So for example, instead of a 4K touchscreen, you've got a 1080p touchscreen. That will be orderable next month. We've also introduced the successor to the DX80 called the Webex Desk. So that will continue to be in the 23-inch screen format and a lot of the newer functionality that the Desk Pro gives you. We've introduced the Webex Desk Hub during Webex 1, so you can connect your headset as well as your cell phone and have touchscreen interactions with your calendar, anything Webex, so calling, meetings, etc. And this is also a new highly sought after product called the Webex Desk Camera. This is a 4K USB-C camera that's orderable now. This will allow you to connect your PC or MacBook to meetings and have a desk-like or room-like system experience. So much better than what you typically get with your laptop peripherals, but even more functionality when you talk about being able to manage these devices through Control Hub. manage firmware, have some asset management, and also have noise cancellation and some additional advanced features. Now with Webex Assistant for devices, we have introduced support for Spanish language. So those are voice commands as well as live transcriptions with additional languages to come shortly. And then the successor for the Touch 10, which is called the Webex Room Navigator. You can put it on the table. You can wall mount it outside of the conference room. Beefier processing, which will allow it to do intelligent room booking. Have built-in sensors for environmental analytics like audio, humidity, etc., and also the ability to support digital signage modes, so wayfinding applications, all kinds of new use cases that weren't available with the Touch 10. Webex Assistant will also allow you to have a reservation experience, including being able to extend bookings. So you can just use your voice. You never have to touch the touch panel. And then for those of you who are registering your devices to on-premises like Unified Communications Manager, we strongly urge you to please take advantage of Webex Edge for devices. So now you can marry your on-prem devices with cloud functionality, things like Webex Assistant, analytics, and a lot more that's available with Webex Edge. And then the last slide here, I know we've got a couple of customers that are in the healthcare, manufacturing, retail environments. We have also announced new wireless phones. So one of them is orderable now and the other one next month. But these are also going to give you another option as how you want to procure and distribute phones. All right, and that's it for me. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Franz. So now we'll be handing the ball over to Frank Inman, who's going to be discussing Webex calling, specifically going over a brief overview of Webex calling, and then emphasizing on the changes made with Control Hub and the overall user experience. So with that, I'll pass it over to Frank.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. Everybody,
Yep.
I'm Frank Inman. I'm a cloud calling TSA for Webex calling. And what I'm going to do today is I'm not going to do any PowerPoint. I'm actually going to do a live demo for you and talk a little bit about what is this thing called Webex calling. Okay, I always like to start off by going, I personally will admit that we Cisco confuse our customers with a particular word known as Webex. We're all doing Webex right now. This is known as a Webex service known as meetings. Cisco uses that umbrella term Webex for a lot of cloud different services here, which started with the meetings. So everyone knows Webex and as soon as you hear that word, you think of this meetings that we're doing right now. But what I'm going to focus on is a service called Webex Calling. And Webex Calling happens to be a service that is just PBX in the cloud. I can have calling and not have meetings. I can have meetings and not have calling. They're two different services, but I can have both services together and I get to manage them in the same pane of glass known as the Webex Control Hub. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'm going to start this off by talking about what is this, how we manage this cloud PBX a little bit. I'm not going to do a training class and spend a whole lot of time here, because then I'm going to move to actually showing you a user experience of using this cloud-based PBX. But what I just shared with you here, hopefully I hit the right key, because sometimes I don't, so I'm just double checking. Somebody give me a thumbs up if they see my screen that I'm sharing. There you go. Thank you. All right, so I'm starting off in the Cisco Webex Control Hub, and I always like to read things backwards. It's a hub to control Webex services here. And what this is showing me is I'm in analytics here, where when I go analytics and pick calling, what I see here are the details of my calls throughout the month there. I can see how many users use desktop phones for calls, mobile phones, MPP physical devices like I'm touching behind me here, as well as my call minutes there. The nice thing is this is a cloud-based calling service where the PBX is in Cisco's cloud. Only thing at your endpoint, at your location, are physical phones or soft clients. And it doesn't matter what internet connection you use, because we let you come over the top over any internet We secure everything. Everything is encrypted, okay? Media and signaling is encrypted. All our portals are encrypted. So we're doing that since we know we're out there on the public internet to get to our cloud there. But our cloud is completely redundant. Not only is it redundant within the data centers, it's geo-redundant. We always have another data center and another geolocation doing all that stuff. We provide, with the service, the ability to have a dashboard to tell what's happening with it. We can even, if I click quality, we'll even show you the quality of what's happening with those calls. So we can tell if there are errors happening on the network and stuff. We show jitter and all that stuff. So this is really going under the hood. It's more detailed than most people want to go to. But this is included for those who care. Do I have a way to manage this and troubleshoot this, since so much of it's in the cloud? And we know the important part about calling is, does it work well for me? Am I able to make that call and be happy with it there? And do I have things to do if there is a problem? And we'll talk about some of that later. I'm going to go to overview. Overview here shows me that, as I said, this is Webex Control Hub, a hub to control services. Notice here where it says all these services here. Now I'm in a demo system. I highlight the wrong thing. I'm in a demo system where all these services that are in blue are just turned on. But again, we're focusing on the one called calling. Okay, so I can have calling, that's Cloud PBX. That doesn't mean I have to have all these other things to do this. In that, this is just an overview so I can tell quickly what's happening in my network and stuff with it. I'm going to then move over to looking at a user so that we can see kind of feature functionality that comes with this here. So if I click on my users over here on the left, the control hub will bring up a list of my users here. Now I'm going to admit I've used usernames in here for an NFL team that I'm a fan of. That's a really bad NFL team, so bad I use really old players as some of my examples from when my team was good. So I'll just warn you now that some of those names will show up. Just because that's my way of making myself feel better when they play so bad. But in any case here, to look at an individual user here, I come here, I click on a user, I'll get a pull out from the right. It'll show me the physical phones that are attached to me. This user has this physical phone behind me. Remember, this is all cloud-based, so I'm managing this through a portal. I may not be present with them. They may be working from home like we all have to do today. I click on this, it'll show me my phone. It'll show me the status of it. I can even manage the phone settings, configure my lines right here from the cloud there. Just click on it, go through and do things. I can even now do things like change my phone settings, where I can come in here, and we don't let you put custom backdrops on this in the cloud, but we let you have a choice of canned backdrops that you can have in there and change those things, change what names and stuff show up on the phone. So it's just that easy to click through things to do that sort of stuff. So again, that's just giving you a high level view of the things we can do remotely with this solution here. If I also click this pull out and go to calling over here, you'll see a list of, we provide, you can use numbers, voicemail is included with the service. It's very feature rich. We cover the basic 911 and E911 capabilities. We have emergency callback there. Under advanced call settings, you'll see a large number of features that are included with this solution there. So you have the ability to do things like, push to talk. That's really an intercom function. Monitoring, where I get to set line keys to say, watch somebody else's line and tell me if they're on the phone or not. This thing, executive and executive assistant, is included, where I have, you're going to see later, I'll make some calls. The phone down below that I'm touching with my hand, I have it set up as an executive. Whenever I call it, their executive assistant is the other phone. So you'll see these two phones light up later on. I just do a little quick demo there. So now I'm calling an executive. The assistant also rings. They can answer the phone at the same time. There's also an integration not only with the physical phone for that feature, with the soft clients as well, where the user could actually be answering on a soft client. So if I had to work from home, I'm still able to make those calls and handle those calls on behalf of the executive if I'm the assistant working from someplace else, which in today's world is very important. On top of that, I can even make calls on behalf of that executive. Dial out, it looks like it's calling from their number. I'm going to actually show you that later on there. Okay, so lots of capabilities there. When I go to applications, you'll see that our normal enterprise user license there allows the user to have both a soft client on their desktop. That's for Windows or Apple environments there. No extra charge for that. Same thing for mobile device, Android or Apple. It's on the App Store, $0 charge. We even have a client for the tablet. So one user can have all of these. If for some reason you need those users to only have one, we can make sure they don't use the mobile and tablet app. Even though they're free on the App Store, they can download it, put their valid credentials in. It would normally work, but if you as an admin didn't want that to work, You just uncheck the boxes and they can't use that. They can only use their PC one with the exact same credential that would work on all of them there. So we have a lot of things to simplify this stuff here. I know I'm talking very fast because we have limited time to actually cover things here, but I'm going to move on here. So just the point is, it's very feature rich, very inclusive, and a lot of functionality that comes in there. On this list, all these features that are here, everything is included except one item on this list. The one item that we do an extra charge for is this thing called call recording there. Okay, in another case, we will talk more detail about that, but it's not just a basic call recording. We give a lot of capability in that call recording. You would find out if we talked about that, but that's the only thing that's an extra charge in here. All the rest of this capability is just built into the service there. You're going to see it very inclusive of that. I'm going to click on the left here under calling, under management here, and switch over to go point out something known as features. These are basic features: auto attendance, hunt groups, call pickup groups, paging groups, even our receptionist client. All of these things come all inclusive with the solution and the package for the cloud PBX as well. Our statement to our customers is, we allow you to build as many of these functions as you need to accomplish your business needs. And that means if you build one hunt group or 100 hunt groups, we don't change your monthly bill for doing that. That's a different statement than what happens if you assign a DID number from your PSTN provider. That PSTN provider may charge something for that, but for just building in the PBX these functions, which all can be extension only, there is no additional charges for doing that. We let you build as many as you want. So you see, think about this. Not only are we giving you cloud PBX functionality where you don't have to host it in your data center, we're also giving you a very feature-rich, full capability included with the standard enterprise license that come with the users for this functions, for all these functions here. Now, after talking about all of that very quick, this was just a quick overview, show you how easy it is to manage all things here. Like even if I was to manage something here, like an auto tenant, I just click a button, I get a pull out that shows me all the stuff for there. Identifying my schedules are easy. I just click on it. It'll show me my schedule that I have applied, and I can do pull downs to get it. I can create them by just clicking on a button to do that stuff. So we make all of this much easier to manage than it used to be for on-premise PBX functionality there. That's the whole purpose of this. Now I'm going to switch up from talking about how you do things to manage this thing by just giving you that quick tour there. So I'm going to actually minimize this, and I'm going to move to a user, which is actually using this service so I can show you what they have available to them. Now, IT won't let me stay logged in, so I have to always log back into this. Give me a second. I just hit the wrong key. And they won't let me use a simple password either, so you know I'm talking bad about IT, but everybody loves IT. All right, so I just looked at a single user here. This is their desktop. This same user is the user that has this physical phone here. So this right here is actually just their user management portal for them to manage things. They can reset their own voicemail pin there, and we'll take care of it in the cloud there. We use the Cisco app, the Webex app, for the calling client, but this app is also more than a calling client. You've heard about this before. This app can actually be my instant messaging presence, texting people. We secure it end to end. We encrypt everything. Every text you send is encrypted all the way to the other user. If I do a file share, any of that stuff, it works. We're focusing on calling. This also can be my calling client. So when I click on it, I'll see that I can dial a number or go look through my history and pick people out of there, or even search on people's names there, okay, and find people that I want to call by doing that sort of stuff. Like if I just type myself in here, you'll see it finds me in here in both my own directory in our cloud, as well as it searched my Outlook to find somebody named Frank as well there. So I can make a call from either one of those searches that I did on there. So we make it easy for you to be doing your calling there. I could be texting with somebody and decide to escalate to a call. I can check my voicemail right from here. I click on it. Here's all my voicemail messages here. The ones with the dots are the ones I haven't listened to, but there's my message waiting indicator over there showing I had 3 messages I hadn't listened to as well. So I knew that even before I came over here. If I click it, I can just play my messages right back here and stuff, or delete them there. So we give you all kinds of easy ways to manage it. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to make a basic phone call. Now, people say, how boring is it just making a phone call? And that's true. Phone calling can be boring, but not when you talk to me. Okay, so you're going to find out I like talking to myself. So I'm going to call myself and talk to myself in a minute. I'm going to point out a little icon up here. Notice this icon here, that if I hover over it, it says pull call. That's going to become important after I make this call, and I'll tell you why. And I'll show you once I do this. So I'm going to call the user. that number that comes up is going to be that executive down here. Remember, when I call them, you'll see the executive assistant light up as well. So let's just watch this. We support both audio calling and video calling. That's point-to-point video calling. But we're going to just do an audio call. I call, it is ringing that executive. So you see two phones lighting up down here right now. I'm going to answer. I just answered that call, okay? And it's on, I'm getting an echo because I'm in the same room with it there. I love my own voice, so I like hearing the echo. I mute it here I muted on the PC. Now, I put that phone on speaker on purpose. I want to show you something. When I unmute, you hear my voice back there echoing on here. That's so you will hear what that user hears. I started this call on my laptop PC. Let's say I'm at home and I'm on Wi-Fi, and you've been warned by the IT administrators to, at home, try not to use your Wi-Fi for voice calling because your Wi-Fi can get all kinds of interference and that can mess with the call there, and it might go up and down. So I'm starting a call, but I just happen to be an executive, and they brought home my physical phone is there too, and it's hardwired there. I'm in the middle of a call that I started on my laptop with nice headset there, and everything is sounding good at first. Somebody starts a microwave or something, or my neighbor starts gaming, and my Wi-Fi goes south, and it starts screwing up my call. I want to improve that call. Watch this. I can walk up to my physical phone here. There's a button on it called Call Pull. I push it with one finger here. Remember, I'm on my PC, so you'll hear this echo. I left that far in person on speaker, so you hear what they hear. I push the button. Notice my call control just went away, and you hear an echo. That's from my physical phone. I just moved the media away from my laptop over to my desk phone. Just like that, I'm on a different calling experience. The foreign person did not hear music on hold because I didn't put them on hold. I just switched my device. A better use case for this could be, I'm at home, I don't have a physical phone, but I have a mobile device. And my mobile device, and I always do this, but sometimes it doesn't work with me well because I forget to hit the right buttons here. If I show you this here, you can't see it. So I try to share it on a screen here, and I'm going to click and bring this over here. So here's my mobile phone with a mobile app on it that gives me my business persona on my mobile device here. I'm in the middle of this call right now. That call is still up over here on my physical phone. Okay. I'm going to go get rid of the X, get my little menu. That's call history. There's my call waiting indicator up there. When I get to my menu, notice that right underneath directory, it says pull call. I'm still live in this call right now. Okay. People are always texting me. Now I'm going to hit pull call on my phone here. When I hit pull call, I just took that call away from my physical desk phone to my mobile device mid-call. So let's do that same scenario. I'm working at home. I'm on my Wi-Fi, on a laptop. The call starts to sounding bad. Maybe my Wi-Fi is being interfered with like I taught before. Maybe my kids start gaming in the middle of my call and they're sucking down my internet really bad. I just pull that call away from not only my Wi-Fi, also off my internet, because I might have 4G or 5G data plan here that has good coverage, and nobody is gaming on that right now. It's just me and my cellular provider there. I pull this voice call over there in the middle of the call. Now when I unmute, you hear my voice. When I mute, you hear my voice. I did this real time in front of you. I'm working from home. I'm on my internet. This phone is on my data plan, okay? I just switched that call off the internet to that phone in the middle of a conversation. The foreign people have no idea I did it. This is built into this service to give you the ability to do that. I'm going to hang that call up now, get rid of this, move this out the way here, and show you something else that I did here. So I did a couple of calls here with the foreign in person, all that stuff. Remember, I had an executive and executive assistant going on over here in the middle of a call here. I can show you that executive assistant right now. I'm going to bring that person over. Here's my executive assistant. Okay, this is the desktop of the person that handles calls on executive. They happen to be named Art Monk. I bring up, they've got that same client over here. Because they're an executive assistant, down here on the line key, they actually have the executives' names that they are taking calls for. So when I make a call from here, I can actually present that call as that user, as the executive, make a call out if I click this. Now the calls that go out will look like the executive. If I go back here and change this to my line, calls that I make will go out as mine. This is built into the service that I can assign this to a user and do things like that with it there. So I can just make those calls. If you'd like to see an example of that call, I'll go back here where this is the phone number, the number I was calling from before. So I'm showing you two users at the same time. So that's why there's two desktops here. One is smaller than the other there. I'm first going to make a call back here, and you're going to see the screen pop so that you can see that. Actually, if I show it here, it's just a little screen pop. I think I have a better way to show you this. I'm going to bring this up. We have something called the receptionist client. It runs in a web page here. So instead of just showing you the screen pops, I'm going to let you see the receptionist view of a call coming in. So first, I'm going to make the call from this executive assistant. And the executive assistant right now, I have them set to their line. So I'll call this 1303. That's the user I'm calling. You'll see this call come in. It's coming in. You see the screen pop user down there. I can see that's coming from a phone number 1306. I'm going to end that call, not answer it in here. So that was how I started. Watch what happens here. I don't have a microphone over here. That's why that's doing that. I'm going to stop that call. I'm going to come back and make that call now. Same user. I'm going to change it to John Riggins here. Okay. Same user, but this is the executive. They're going to make a call on behalf. I dial that same number. I hit call, right? Notice over here now, look where the call is coming from. It looks like it's coming from John Riggins here, not me over here. So I'm going to decline this call here. So I have choices of that. The point is, as the executive assistant, I can change how I look, who the user is that I'm actually calling based on what I pick here. That's just built into this, not an additional charge, just applying it to it. So we give a lot of capability for doing things like that. Now, during this time, I've been calling an executive, and that executive I've been calling was this guy named John Riggins here. I'm going to actually bring John Riggins' desktop up to you here. Okay. Another integration that we naturally do over here is John Riggins happens to be one of the users in this enterprise that likes to use a different application for his collaboration. He actually likes to use this thing known as Microsoft Teams there. We have a built-in integration to that where we can actually integrate to that and do calling. If you go to their app store, load in the app, we can actually pull up. When I click on that calling there, we'll actually bring up a call dial pad that dials on our cloud PBX there on behalf of that. So we can actually do that integration right in here where we make calls and do things like dial numbers from here and start them off over here. I'll dial back to that same user here again, make a call. See what happens here. I left this pop-up on purpose, okay, to tell you something that we're starting a call, but it's going to actually use our app in the background. Why do I use our app in the background? The reason for that is so that I don't have a microphone there. I'm actually making that call out of here, but I started it onto here. I made that call over to this other user again as John Riggins from actually John Riggins' desk, but I started it in Microsoft Teams. I'm going to stop the call here. I started in Microsoft Teams. The pop-up was there. We still use our app in the background. The reason for that is we can still do that call, pull, and all those nice things that I did by us still being there, experiencing there, rather than just making the call out. We're keeping all our call control capabilities in play by doing that. So that was just to point out a lot of capability that's built into this. Other questions that may come up here. I also point out this receptionist client. This client allows me to act as a virtual receptionist, so I could work at home or any place. I can use this with a physical phone, with a soft client, anything I want, I can actually manage with that. But this just gives me an easy way to make calls and receive calls and manage transferring those calls there. Again, we don't charge extra for that. I'm going to act like a receptionist for a minute. I'm going to have an incoming call come into me. So I'll do this. Here comes a call. I see that call coming in. Now, it's ringing on my physical phone, my soft client, all of that stuff. If I click answer right here, it actually will take my phone off hook for me. So my phone is off hook right now. I received that call. I'll mute it because it sounds bad, all my echoes. I'm the only person who likes hearing my voice over and over again there. But I hear all that calling going on. That person asked to speak to somebody. Let's say they asked to speak to who I've been dealing with all day. John Riggins down here. I can look and see John is not on the phone because it's green. That means that he's available for me to send a call to him. When I click on that line, I have the option to send this user straight to voicemail. I could call John, which would put the other user on hold, do a consultative conversation. You want to talk to this person, yes or no, and then transfer. But I'm lazy today. I'm just going to blind transfer it there. I'm not going to ask John if he wants this call. All I have to do is click transfer, and that call is gone. I do that. That call is sent to John. It's ringing everywhere on John. He answers the call. Now these two parties are in a call. The person who called in and John Riggins, okay? So this call is where I dialed from. I originally answered. They asked for John Riggins. I transferred him to John Riggins. He's in a call. John is still in that call. Later, someone comes to me as a receptionist and says, hey, Frank, can you go down the hall and interrupt John, because we've been trying to call him all morning. He won't pick up the phone, and whatever he's talking to, this is more urgent. I said, in the old days, I could have done that. Today, John is working from home, but I have a capability of barging into his calls. That's if John has allowed this function to happen, has turned that setting on, okay, for himself. In this case, he does. He lets us barge into his calls. I'm going to do that because that's a little more complex call flow. So as a receptionist, this doesn't mean I can do that. It just means if I'm allowed to, I can. So I'm going to click this, and here's how this works. When I click it, it's going to ring my phone first. Once it rings my phone, then I can answer, and it starts the barge in process. You're going to visually be able to see this process. Here I go. Barge in is happening. It's ringing my phone. I pick up. That is the barge in tone that you just heard, okay, in the background. You heard my voice on these phone calls, so both parties are hearing my voice. I'm in a call because I created a conference call with John Riggins, this person at 1311 extension, Frank Inman IV4 there. All of us are in a call together now that I set up a conference call for. If I unmute myself, hello, how you folks doing? Not too well. John, we need touchdowns this year. He says he's too old. He can't do it. I'm too old also. But in any case here, I joined that quickly this way. Watch what happens. I can click the leave button to kill this conference call, or I can just hang my phone up. Either way, it's going to work. The call is gone. All right? Hold it. Did I kill John Riggins' original call? That would be bad. I did not do that. I take it off mute. John is still in the call with that original party. I'm just no longer in that conference call for him. That's a semi-complex call flow, but all that worked, and I visually got to see it here by doing that. The point here is lots of capability is built into the solution that comes with it. Okay, so we were showing you that we have a Cisco cloud calling PBX solution known as Webex Calling that's out there available for use today. I'm going to turn it back over to the team after talking so fast here today to see if there's any open questions and other things you want me to cover today. I was trying to fit in my time, Francis.
Frank, that was impressive. The way you've gone through all that, very very impressive. There's no questions directly in the chat, but could you speak a little bit on the interop between cloud calling, and obviously a lot of our customers are on-prem traditional calling. What does the path look like to transitioning to cloud calling, and anything that you would quote unquote lose from being in a hybrid type deployment?
Great question. So this is a very flexible solution. We can go in a hybrid scenario. For two scenarios happen for being hybrid. One is the transition from premise to cloud. We can start off where we give you flexibility how we do our PSTN. We can do the PSTN with an integration to an existing on-premise solution that we use the existing PSTN that's off the back of that. So you don't do any port or anything over from your existing carrier to start with. They integrate in a hybrid model where the cloud knows how to dial things that are not part of the cloud by sending them to what we call a local gateway that interfaces to your premise PBX. Okay, that's really just a border element, control element, basically the Cisco cube that has license in it and configuration to talk to the cloud on one side, all over IP, all over the internet. Okay, and the other side of it, the cloud knows about it there. And we define it to say anything that's not part of us, whether that's in the dial plan for extension dialing, where I might have put a prefix that's not part of the prefixes I use elsewhere. If someone dials that, we send it to that border element, which would then send it to your on-premise PBX, whatever that is. Okay, that would then route out a 10-digit number to the PBX, to the PSTN, or it would send an extension that it knows about to whatever extension is on it. On the PBX side, you have to build a dial plan to say what things I send back toward that local gateway on a SIP trunk between that local gateway and your PBX that you just set up. When I say SIP trunk, that's just a private SIP connection there, just over IP connect between it. It could be just Ethernet cable that you're doing that between that. So it's not I had to get a provider SIP trunk to do that. Just a logical SIP trunk between the two elements there. So that's one way to run in a hybrid scenario where things are natively going to be able to extension dial across between each other. You're still using on-prem users with some cloud users there. When you're ready to get all the users off of the on-prem to all cloud and get all that redundancy and resiliency that the cloud can bring to it there, because we can bring the PSTN to the cloud so that you don't have to have it terminating local. Now it doesn't matter if you lose a location and stuff. You can then port your numbers over to one of the cloud PSTN providers that connects to us, when all the users are actually on the cloud there. And now you've transitioned to a completely cloud solution at your pace. Okay, for doing that, whether you have to wait for a contract to end on your PSTN or it took you time to move certain groups of users from the existing PBX over to the cloud. So we have built-in ways to actually do an integration between there, and we can run in a hybrid model for as long as you want to run there and then transition over to that. So hopefully I didn't say too much on how to do that there, but that's kind of the answer to that. The point is, with the Cisco solution, we like flexibility and options. Okay, some people say that that means you have too much complexity. What we like to say is we don't feel one size fits all. By not feeling one size fits all, you must have more than just one option. You have to have the ability to have choices in what your PSTN is, choices in how you do a hybrid configuration of whether I'm going to stay on premise partially for a while and then move part to the cloud, and what my time frame will be with that. So we do allow all those things to come into play. Other questions that may be out here before I run out of time here?
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. And if there's any people